So it's my last day here in sunny Spain, and I'm going to tell you before I leave why Katie Hopkins, when she said that when you leave the UK, it's not until you leave the UK and you smell genuine freedom that you get to realise just how bad things are now at home. I'm going to tell you why. She's absolutely spot on. So guys, on the way home in a couple of hours, me and Mrs T have enjoyed a lovely week down here in Spain with my daughter, my granddaughter and our son-in-law. And I'll tell you why we was here this week. The main reason that we're here this week is because our granddaughter had to find a new school. Obviously she needs to go to school, and this week we wanted to come along, support her and my daughter and have a look around at all the schools and, you know, pick the best one for her, what we believe will be the best one for her. I think we visited 5 or 6 in total, and do you know what, on the last visit to the last school, I was walking around and I can promise you I was actually struggling to hold back the tears. And I'll tell you why. Because what I've experienced looking around at the Spanish schools, there are so many differences to what we're getting at home these days. Now, my daughter has just left the school in Brighton. I'm not going to talk about the bad things. You know, I won't talk about the disrepair of the school, the lack of safety and a lot of other things that was wrong with that school, in my opinion, and all schools in the UK right now. What I will tell you is the positives of what I found with the schools in Spain. Firstly, all the kids are smiling, they're all happy. They all look like they're filled with joy and looking forward to their day. The teachers are the same, all welcoming, hands-on with the kids. They're cuddling the children, they've got their arms around them, they're helping them. It's like a family atmosphere. There's tennis courts, there's swimming pools, there's gyms, there's recreational areas, there's even cafes inside the school for the older children who are 11 plus, where they can congregate rather than going out on the streets. During their day they have a 2-hour break. During that 2-hour break they can either take extra lessons, they can take Spanish lessons, they can take dance lessons, drama, they can do whatever they like during those 2 hours, or they can go home, or they can go to the canteen and spend time there with their friends. The facilities at all of the schools makes schools in the UK look medieval. And it was just the general atmospheres, the feeling of happiness that struck me. And that's also what struck me being around the Spanish people, being around and in Spain in general. The feeling of oppression is lifted. There is no feeling of oppression here. Everyone is happy, everyone is smiling, everyone feels free. I feel so much safer here. I mean, honestly, walking around here late at night on my own or with my wife, I've not felt under threat, not a single one time. In stark contrast to when we're at home. Now, I want to tell you, this is the God's honest truth. I'm not exaggerating when I say I must have been stopped and have spoken to, I don't know, 50, 70 people whilst I've been out here. I'm being stopped 10, 15 times every day whilst I've been out here. Whether I'm in a bar, a restaurant, walking in the street. Brits are coming up to me, and Irish people as well, but Brits in particular have been coming up to me, and they all have the same sorry, sad look in their eyes. They all have the same depressed tone in their voice. They all have the same sorry story, that they're fed up with what's going on at home, that they feel their home is no longer their home, and that everything they were brought up to believe and respect and to love has been taken away from them by these treacherous politicians that have been ruling our country for the last 25, 30 years. Every single one of them. You hear one story, it's the same the next time, the time after that, and the time after that. Everyone is so depressed. Everyone is just so fed up. And if you ever wonder if you're doing the right thing or if you're telling an accurate story, being in a place like this is proof without a doubt that the story that these people are telling you is a familiar one right across the United Kingdom. And is it any wonder that so many Brits now are scrambling to leave the UK, to get out of their home? They feel like they're being ethnically cleansed from the land of their mothers and fathers and their grandparents. That's the way that all of these people feel. Will I be sad to leave here today? Well, I'll be sorry to say goodbye, at least for another couple of weeks. I'm coming out in a couple of weeks' time again. I cannot go too long without seeing my grandchildren and my daughter. It breaks my heart. Will I be sorry to leave? Well, it's always nice to go home, right? But what home are you coming home to? More depression and, you know, I'm sitting here now, we're travelling soon, and I'm wondering, am I going to get detained at Gatwick again? If so, how long for and what for? You just never know these days. That's the kind of country that we're now living in. Just imagine, I'm going home and I'm already worried about the interrogation that I'm going to get when I get home. It's just unbelievable. But I go back to what I said right at the very beginning. Katie Hopkins recently made a brilliant video about you don't realise how oppressed we're feeling until you come away to a foreign country and you can smell the freedom, you can breathe it, you can feel it. There's just an aura around the place. This is how low the UK has sunk, and we don't even often realise it until you come abroad. And you know, look, there's 10 times less crime here than there is in the UK, and there's 10 times more police. Work it out for yourselves. I mean, I'm sitting here now, just sitting down in the town centre, and just across the way there's an armed police officer on his motorbike there if anyone needs him. And I've been observing the police in and around the town of Benidorm and the surrounding areas. Police are everywhere, they're ready, they're armed. And I'm going to be honest with you, in stark contrast to a lot of the police at home these days, these are young to middle-aged, fit men. They're all pretty big, they all look like they're ready for trouble if it comes their way, and they know how to deal with it. In stark contrast to a lot of our police officers these days who are wearing uniforms that don't even fit them, let alone being fit physically themselves. A lot of them are dreadfully overweight or underweight or whatever they are, and that's not having a go at the police in general. This is about recruitment, police recruitment. And again, you come to Spain and you look at the physical presence of the police here in stark contrast to the physical presence of the police back home. The contrast is just remarkable. So yes, it will be sad to leave my daughter and my granddaughter here, but I leave them here in the hope and the belief that they should be, God forbid, bar disasters, they should be a lot safer here than they are at home. And that's good for my soul, that's good for my heart, and it's good for them. You know, I rest a lot easier knowing that they're not walking out and about in the streets of a country now where you just don't know where the next person who's going to walk past them, you don't know where they've come from, what they've been up to, or what they're capable of doing. And like I said, everyone that I speak to out here feels the same way. We're not the only ones, we're not alone. Now what's going to be really interesting is when we get back, of course, what's been going on with reform, with Rupert Lowe and Nigel Farage. Look, there's so much to unfold yet, there's so much to say. We'll be talking about that when I get back. Thank you for all your support as always. For now, I'm going to grab a plane and get back to the land of oppression.